Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I am going to discuss about 10 best story ideas for Red Dead Redemption 3 that can actually happen. Though there are various directions that Rockstar can take the next entry in Red Dead Redemption, previous titles have clues to what RDR3 could be. Exploring Jack's life in the early 90s and his pursuit of a new life without the brutality of the outlaw world could be an interesting direction for Red Dead Redemption 3. The possibility of playing as a sheriff or bounty hunter offers a fresh take on redemption through lawful means. A game focused on a feared outlaw or gunslinger, with a larger emphasis on duels and growing a legend, could be a contrast to a heist-focused narrative. It's been over 5 years since the release of Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018, leading many to wonder where the franchise can go next in Red Dead Redemption 3. While GTA 6 and the improvements it will bring are likely on the minds of most when it comes to upcoming Rockstar Games releases, those who prefer the Wild West setting of the RDR games have been left postulating and theorizing where the title can go next. Red Dead Redemption 2, after all, was a prequel to the events of Red Dead Redemption, which featured a story amid the decline of the Old West or American frontier. That said, there are still a ton of loose ends from both RDR1 and RDR2 left to explore by the time the true credits roll, lending itself to a ton of different possibilities of where the franchise could go in the future. Now let's not waste any more time, and here are the 10 best story ideas for Red Dead Redemption 3. Number 1. Jack Marston's narrative, continuing the RDR story. Born at the tail end of the 19th century, Jack Marston would enter the world in Red Dead Redemption 2 during the tail end of the Old West, thrusting people into the events of the original Red Dead Redemption. That story ends with John dying at the hands of Bureau of Investigation agent Edgar Ross and the government, with Jack getting his vengeance on Ross in the end. However, people never really get to live Jack's life in those preceding years, nor do they see what his tale of vengeance looks like. While an extended mission does let people play as the character, there's a massive leap in time. This opens up the potential of a story of Jack in the early 1900s, trying to grow up and make his way with his mother, Abigail, in a new and evolving world and leaving behind the brutality that he grew up in. Number 2. Shedding your outlaw ways to become a lawman. Walk the line. Though Red Dead has fully explored life as a career criminal in the Old West, it hasn't viewed the government in a positive light whatsoever. While the Bureau of Investigation in RDR and RDR2 give the law a bad name, it could be interesting to explore the Old West as a sheriff protecting a town, or further explore the role of a bounty hunter by expanding it into a full storyline for the next game. Standing on the other side of the law would be a nice contrast, and obtaining redemption through lawful means might be a fresh take on the franchise. Number 3. Becoming a new gunslinger. The best duelist in West Elizabeth. While RDR2 did feature duels, albeit in a much more stripped-down version than people had in the original Red Dead Revolver, outside of a quest or two, it was never a major focus. This was a huge disappointment to those who enjoyed the duel mechanic in the prior game, and it is something that could become more of a focus in Red Dead Redemption 3. A game more focused on a feared or well-known outlaw or gunslinger that included a larger emphasis on duels and growing a legend might be an interesting way to reincorporate the mechanic into the game. Number 4. Arthur Morgan's adolescence. Meeting the Van der Linde gang. Though we get to explore the end days for Arthur in RDR2 fully, we don't really get to see what led him to become friends with Dutch Van der Linde, Micah, or James, though they do remark about old heists several times throughout the game. Being able to see even further into the past via a prelude to RDR2 would not only make a lot of sense from a narrative point of view but also give us access to Arthur's early life and how he meets up with the career criminals. Number 5. Red Dead Revolver 2. Reviving a classic. Though most won't remember or haven't played the original Red Dead Revolver, which spawned the Red Dead Redemption franchise, it was Rockstar's first foray into the Wild West. That game follows a gunslinger by the name of Red, who becomes a ruthless bounty hunter after both his parents are murdered. In that game, Red goes on a long journey of vengeance but ultimately comes out of it alive, lending itself to the idea that perhaps the best story for RDR3 isn't even a Red Dead Redemption game at all. Number 6. Exploring the indigenous peoples of America. A different perspective. While much of the focus in Red Dead Redemption is seen through the eyes of American European descendants expanding into the West, playing the game through the perspective of the people who were there first might be an even more interesting take on things. By the time of the events of RDR2, the United States had already expanded all the way out to California, colonizing most of the land once occupied by the indigenous tribes that had lived there before. A look into the vibrant culture of a specific tribe could be a great way to explore the ideals and beliefs in a respectful and intriguing way, with events throughout the 19th century serving as a stark reminder of the darker side of American history. In Red Dead Redemption 2, the Wapiti Indians are featured, but only for a few missions. Number 7. An agent of the Pinkerton National Detective Agency. Becoming your worst enemy. Even though Pinkertons are probably one of the most hated groups in all of Red Dead Redemption, a story about a reformed one would make for an interesting narrative. The Pinkertons in RDR are actually based on a real private detective agency established in the American 1850s and known widely for their alleged attempts to break up unionized labor in the early 20th century. A story involving a corrupt agent finding their way could be a very compelling redemption arc. Number 8. A continuation of Charles's story, exploring the Canadian frontier. Though perhaps not the flashiest or most memorable central character, Charles Smith is one of the only characters that definitively escaped the events of RDR2, as in the end, he eventually recovers from his injuries and seemingly navigates to Canada to start a new life. Seeing the world through Charles's eyes, either after or before the events of RDR, would be an interesting contrast to the main protagonists of the first and second Red Dead Redemption. Furthermore, this would enable Rockstar to flesh out an entirely new map based loosely on Canada, which could be a nice change of scenery. Number 9. A Dutch storyline, building the Van der Linde gang. The iconic leader of the Van der Linde gang, Dutch, is one of the most memorable characters in both Red Dead Redemption games. Though much is already known via dialogue about how Dutch met Hosea to start the gang, people never actually got the chance to play as Dutch or see the gang form. Though playing as the iconic character probably wouldn't be the way that Rockstar would go in this case, as Dutch is too good of a character foil to be the protagonist, it could be interesting to see the formation of the gang through a third, unmentioned cowboy or cowgirl that helped during the formative roots of the gang. Number 10. Sadie's extended storyline, RDR2's first female protagonist. A fan favorite for her excellent characterization and no-nonsense attitude, Sadie Adler is one of Red Dead Redemption 2's most memorable characters. Wife to Jake Adler who perishes in RDR2, she's a strong-willed and determined cowgirl who can compete with just about every other member of the gang. At the end of Red Dead Redemption 2, Sadie mentions that she wants to travel to South America, which would segue perfectly into a new Red Dead Redemption that features an all-new map based in South America and revolving around Sadie. Considering she's never mentioned in the original game, it can be assumed that she's probably still alive but not a target of the Bureau of Investigation. That's the end of my video and thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified of our latest uploads. See you next time on Crazy Gamers.